Today, we're digging into an ancient text that reads like a secret director's cut of the Bible. It's a book that claims to be the real, unedited story of creation, as told by an angel. Get ready for the Book of Jubilees. Just imagine for a second, what if all the stories you think you know, Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark, Abraham and Isaac, what if they're just the short version? What if there was another version, a secret one, filled with fallen angels, a master demon, and a whole cosmic war playing out behind the scenes? All right, so where does this all come from? Well, the story starts in a place you definitely know, Mount Sinai. Moses is up there for 40 days and 40 nights, about to receive the law. You know the story. But according to the Book of Jubilees, he got way, way more than just the 10 Commandments. Right there, in that moment, God supposedly tells an angel of the presence, one of his highest-ranking angels, to sit down and dictate the entire history of everything to Moses. We're talking about the full, unabridged story, filling in all the gaps, explaining the why behind every event, from day one of creation all the way to that very moment. So that's what this book is in a nutshell. It basically frames itself as Genesis 2.0. It's not just a retelling, it claims to be the definitive eyewitness account from an angel. And as you can imagine, this divine perspective introduces some pretty radical new ideas. And one of the most radical ideas, right out of the gate, isn't about a famous patriarch or a big flood. Nope, it's about something way more fundamental, time itself. Because according to Jubilees, there is only one single correct way to measure a year, and getting it wrong is a very, very big deal. And that one correct way boils down to this number, 364. That's it, not 365 and a quarter, and absolutely not the 354 days you get from a lunar calendar. The book says God created a perfect solar year of exactly 52 7-day weeks. Simple math. And following this calendar, it's not a suggestion, it's a divine command. And the book doesn't just stop there. It organizes all of human history into these neat, tidy blocks of time. Everything is broken down into 49-year cycles. That's 7 weeks of years. They're called Jubilees, which is, you guessed it, where the book gets its name. Every major event is precisely dated, making history feel less like chaos and more like a perfectly designed divine blueprint. And this is where a huge conflict comes into play. The book absolutely attacks any calendar based on the moon. It says those calendars are an error, a trick, that they cause you to celebrate holy days on the wrong days. For the author here, your calendar wasn't just a way to keep track of appointments. It was a choice between God's perfect path and the mistaken path of everyone else. So on top of the battle over time, Jubilees pulls back the curtain on this vast, invisible, spiritual war that's happening just behind the scenes of Genesis. Suddenly, the story has a whole new cast of supernatural heroes and, especially, villains. The trouble kicks off with a group of angels called the Watchers. Now, they were supposed to come to Earth to teach humanity, to guide them, but things go very, very wrong. They become corrupted by what they see, and they end up committing this ultimate sin with human women. And the result of this, an absolute catastrophe. Their children were giants who filled the world with violence, chaos, even cannibalism. So in this version of the story, the Great Flood isn't just about God being angry with human sin. It's a cosmic reset button, a desperate act of cleansing to wipe the earth clean of this angelic corruption and its monstrous children. But even after the flood, it's not over. God orders the spirits of those dead giants to be bound and imprisoned. But their leader, a figure named Prince Mastema, steps forward and makes this chilling request. He basically asks God, hey, let me keep 1/10 of my demons so I can keep testing and tempting humanity. And in a really shocking twist, God says yes. And just like that, evil in the world isn't some abstract force anymore. It has a name, a face, and a mission. Mastema becomes this recurring villain, the ultimate puppet master working behind the scenes. He's the one who hardens Pharaoh's heart. He's the one constantly whispering accusations against God's most faithful followers. And to really understand the massive impact a character like Mastema has, we've got to look at how Jubilees takes one of the most difficult and well-known stories in Genesis and completely turns it on its head. Okay, the story of Abraham being asked to sacrifice his son Isaac. We all know it as this incredibly profound, gut-wrenching test of faith. In Genesis, the command comes directly from God.
But Jubilees just stops and asks, are we sure that's how it started? What if there was a darker influence at play? And there it is, a jaw-dropping twist. According to this book, the idea to test Abraham wasn't God's idea at all. It came from Prince Mastema. He marches up to God and essentially makes a bet, a challenge. He says, you think this guy Abraham loves you? He loves his son more. Test him. You'll see. Do you see how much this changes everything? The story is no longer a private, agonizing struggle between a man and his God. Now it's a public showdown on a cosmic stage. Abraham isn't just proving his own faith. He's acting as God's champion, winning a cosmic battle against the chief of all demons. The stakes are completely different. So all of this is pretty wild, right? A secret calendar, fallen angels, a master villain rewriting famous stories. It all begs the big question. Why? Why would someone go to all the trouble of rewriting Genesis this way? Well, the answer tells us a lot about the world this book came from. When you put all the pieces together, a really clear picture starts to form. You've got this super strict calendar. You've got laws that go back to the dawn of time, not just Sinai. You have this constant threat from demons. And above all, you have this relentless focus on separating Israel from every other nation. It's all pointing in one direction. The Book of Jubilees was almost certainly written when Jewish culture felt like it was under attack from outside influences, specifically Greek or Hellenistic culture. So the book is like a defense mechanism. It's a powerful argument that the only true way is ancient, perfectly ordered by God, and completely separate from the corrupting ways of the outside world. So what happened to it? Well, most major Jewish and Christian groups didn't end up including Jubilees in their official Bible, but it was far from forgotten. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, for one, still considers it sacred scripture to this day. And when the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, copies of Jubilees were right there with them, proving just how important this book was to some ancient communities. It's an amazing window into how diverse ancient beliefs really were. In the end, the Book of Jubilees is this powerful reminder that sacred stories are alive. For thousands of years, people have read them, wrestled with them, and even rewritten them to make sense of their own world. And it leaves you with a pretty cool question, right? What other secret versions of the stories we think we know are still out there, just waiting to be found?